What's up, Dragon Brood? Today we're gonna talk about some more hidden gems. I think this is like the third video in this series I've done, and I actually wanted to take the time to actually start introducing some things that aren't just Magic cards that Magic players might also have that are worth something. Because I think there's a lot of things that are out there in the world that are Magic related that people don't know about. Some of the stuff that I actually look for in pictures and whatnot whenever I'm buying collections, because there's more value to be had than just what's in the cardboard. But we're going to get to that because I think there's some very interesting things that might surprise a few of you in today's video. Now, I do want to start out talking about a few cards because I think that's what most people probably own, and we want to keep that kind of original to the series. But the first thing we're going to talk about here is Swiftfoot Boots. This is the card that's had, like, gosh, I don't know, it feels like a bajillion printings. Like, I don't know how many, but it's been quite a lot. And the card still carries a $2 value. And I think this is one of those cards that can often get overlooked whenever you're just going through collections, or maybe you have a pile of Commander cards and you just think, it's an uncommon, nobody wants it, it's been reprinted a bunch of times. Not true at all. This still carries a $2 to $2.50 value, and you can still get good money for these. These are always good in trade binders. People love playing them in Commander, partly to protect their Commander whenever they finally get to cast it and get it in play. So it has a bunch of uses, and it's one of those cards that I think is just always going to be valuable. Plus, you know, sometimes footwear is awesome, and if you can give your Planeswalkers some cool black Air Force One energy, why wouldn't you? Though, these would be more like Adidas, and this next card is probably more like your Air Force Ones. And we're talking about Lightning Greaves. See, these are roughly the same card, but not quite the same. Granted, Lightning Greaves does give something Shroud versus Hexproof, but it's still pretty valuable, even more so, to the point that it's about 3 times as expensive at $7, and maybe even up to $8, depending on which version you want. So, footwear apparently is important in the Commander sphere, if you will. But yeah, both these cards are cards you can find in a few different sets, different special sets. Now, I will say there's more Swiftfoot Boots in the world than Lightning Greaves, hence the difference in the price. But again, these are cards that in some cases are worth more than a lot of rares. So if you're ever looking for something to shove into a trade binder, or something people are always going to want, or maybe you're wanting to sell stuff to a vendor to help cover your shipping or whatever, these are the types of cards you can dig out of your collection and still get a lot for. Now, one thing that's happened over the years with Magic is that there's actually classic cards that have kind of lost favor or lost value. And that's a little bit sad, right? Because we all remember loving like our Singer vampires once upon a time. But they really just never went up in value. They kind of got outclassed by a bunch of cards that came along. And to some extent, the same thing has happened to Serra Angel. That was super iconic, and we all loved playing with the card back in the day. There was a point where you can get Serra Angels for, 50 cents? Well, over the last few years, it slowly crept back up, and like many cards in Revise, this is one that actually started to become a real value. Now, it's not crazy, but you can still find them for about $3 now. So if you've been sitting on some, or maybe you have some old Revise cards you're trying to figure out what to do with, like, now is a great time to be able to sell them. Now, do I think they will still continue to go up? Very likely. I think a lot of stuff from that era is just getting older, it's harder to find, you're getting new players that want to collect sets and whatnot. You know, sometimes there's stories or things they read, and they want to have the old cards to, I don't know, for nostalgia, or put into their Commander decks or whatever. So the card probably still has room to grow over the next couple of years. However, if you've just been sitting on stuff and looking for a time to get rid of it, this is as good as any if you're looking to clear out space. And again, it's not a ton of money, but $3 is way different than what it's been worth over the last few years. So, you know, why not? I figured I'd include it because it's an interesting inclusion at $3 for a card that has a lot of nostalgia on it, and now people are looking for it. And I think this has more to do with the rise in collectible importance, I guess, over the last 2 or 3 years, and people wanting to complete Revised sets, or people wanting to just get older cards, and that's what's leading to the value more than anything to do with the actual playability of Serra Angel. Here's another good one that might surprise people, but this has actually had, I think, 5 Commander printings, and was also in a regular set, it was in a Master set, and I think in Commander Legends, I'd have to go back and check. So it has a lot of different printings out there, and it's not a rare, and still carries a value of between $2 and $3. We're talking about Kodama's Reach. Like, it's a 3-mana card that lets you effectively go get 2 lands, helps you ramp up your board. just like, this card's all around good, and people even just splashing green want to play this card. But yeah, like I said, it's important to Commander. As you see, it's been printed in 5 Commander sets. And it doesn't matter what version you have, they're all worth something. And this again is the type of card that's very easy to gloss over and just say, this probably isn't going to be worth much, nobody's really looking for these. Or you convince yourself that there's just too many out in the world, right? These are the types of cards why I like doing this type of video, because these, like Kodama's Reach, it doesn't matter if you started playing back in, gosh, I don't know, around 2000, or you started playing 2 years ago, right? There's a realistic chance you have some of these in your collection. So yeah, like, I know people have been looking at some of these and go, well, why are you talking about $2 cards? Why are you talking about $3 cards? That's not all that exciting and people can't make that much. The point is to show people cards that they don't know are valuable, that they actually already own. Whether they want to sell them, or they want to trade them, or they just want to know that they're worth money and hold on to them. Their prerogative. Like, this is the type of card I would think, in reality, at some point is going to start dropping in value, because it will just keep getting reprinted every 2 years or whatever in Commander sets or something, or maybe every year. But so far that hasn't been the case. Now, I don't know what this threshold is for the community to where there's too many Kodama's Reaches, but we have to be getting close. So this is one time I would say this card's probably close to its peak, unless for some reason we just decide to stop reprinting it in the future, and we don't know what that call is. But if you want to make some spare money on Kodama's Reaches, well, now you can. Alright, so I wanted to address some non-cardboard stuff. Well, maybe non-cards. One of these I think still technically is cardboard. But one of the things that actually still carries a reasonable price tag, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, are life counters. And not like rare life counter. I think that's a whole different category, and we can talk about that in another video, where rare life counters do exist and they're worth a very large amount of money. But there are some that people just get in regular products that they've been receiving even over the last 5 or 6 years that carry value. So we'll start with some of the easiest ones, but things like these little life counters. You can still get like $1 to $1.50 for these. I mean, there's several listings on eBay with all different ones, some that come with sets of 5 going for like $8 or $9, some that are single ones going for $2. But yeah, there's a market for people collecting these, surprisingly. And the one thing I think really does at least give these a little bit of draw, one, they are cheap, but 2, because they also fit into a deck box. So if you are going out and about and you don't want to carry a lot of extra materials, this does kind of make sense that if you have a large size deck box, you can put your Commander deck in there and the life counter and not really have to carry anything else. But we also have stuff like, I guess we'll just call them life counter tumblers. People refer to these as different things, but these actually vary in price anywhere from $8, and I've seen some going up as high as $25. And that's pretty damn spectacular, because these were just free in a bunch of different Commander boxes. Now, some of them came with like Commander anthologies, some came out with, just various Commander products over the years. So makes sense that Commander players would be the ones who find these exciting. But there's different styles of them. So you have the plain gray ones, you have the black and red ones, and there's a few others in between. And that's all going to affect the price, how rare the box set was, stuff like that. But the interesting thing is, if you're ever buying one of these older box sets just to get the cards, or maybe you want the decks for one reason or another, and you don't care and you're going to crack the box open anyway, you can get a decent chunk of money back for just selling the life counters that are inside of it. Some of them even came with multiples, so there's a good chance you can get, I don't know, sometimes a quarter of the value, half the value back just in these, because nobody values them not knowing they're worth anything. So yeah, that one's actually really good to know about. But taking it a step even further, you can have the spin down counters, which come in a bajillion Magic products, and these are all over the place. You can find some as low as 25 cents if you buy them in large bulk. You generally, though, the low end hangs around 50 cents, but the top end is around like $25 if you get one of the ones that come in like the old From the Vault sets. So everything in between. And some of these have to do with people collecting sets because they want one of all 5 colors in that particular set. Some of them just want the older ones you can't find anymore. So if you have like original Shards of Alara ones and stuff like that, those are going to carry more value than some of the more recent ones. However, there's starting to become a market for the more recent ones because people like the larger size of the dice. So that's becoming a thing. So yeah, there's all kinds of reasons people want different dice, spin down counters, life counters, whatever. So don't toss any of that stuff out before at least doing a courtesy search online and seeing what people are buying, because You might genuinely be throwing out like $50 worth of life counters and not even know it. So yeah, as you can see, there are a ton of different things you can make money on in Magic, a ton of different things in your collection that are worth value. It's very often when people say, I don't own anything, or I wish I could trade for a thing, so I'm a little bit short, or I want this card for my commander deck, or I need to finish off this modern deck, but I don't have $20 or $30. Like, sometimes you have that in just random cards you didn't know about, or in this case, you might have it in random spin down counters or life counters or whatever, right? So much stuff is out there, worth stuff for Magic in the collectible sphere, which is amazing. But you know what? It's not even just life counters. We have one more thing I want to talk about today before we end this video, and pins. A whole category that people don't talk about in Magic that actually are worth value. Now, when I just did my recent search earlier, the low end on pins seems to be around $8 or $9. But the upper end goes as high as $25 to $30. And this is everything from, you know, regular stuff that was just marketed just years ago, some collectible stuff that were made to look like the Moxes. They made some pins that look just like those. You have some from official deals with Pinfinity, where they made stuff like this Karn one. And that's kind of rare and collectible, and I think the last price I saw on this was around $25. But then there's a whole series of them that are even convention pins that Wizards of the Coast does alongside with the PAX convention, and they have them called Penny, P-I-N-N-Y, arcade series. And they generally depict like planeswalkers or the Magic planeswalker symbol and stuff like that. I've seen these going almost always anywhere between like 15 and 20 bucks. So there is a whole category of stuff that you may not have bought, or you may have seen just sitting around in piles of stuff, or maybe you bought a collection and they're sitting in a box because you don't know what to do with them. These are worth money too. You don't even have to be things, and I think we can get caught up in Magic sometimes saying, hey, I get it, things that people use to play the game are worth money. But really, we're at the point in Magic that it's very much a, I don't know, nostalgic lifestyle brand. So things that have the Magic logo or likenesses just happen to be worth money. So yeah, like I was saying, there are so many things out there still worth cash. So if you're ever down in your luck, or maybe you don't know if you have enough to pick up those cards you want or whatever, kind of go through your collection. Find things that you know are useful or sought after, or people play in a lot of decks. Even if it's common or uncommon, could still be worth something. If you have random things with the Magic logo on them and you're not sure if they're worth money, at least go give it a courtesy search, because there is so much stuff worth value out there. But as always, let me know down in the comments if you like these types of series, if you like this type of info, if it's helpful to you or not, if there's certain things you want to see. Let me know, because I'm always looking at ways about how to kind of change up the directions of this particular series and make it useful to as many viewers as possible. And if you haven't, please consider joining the channel to support me for as little as 99 cents. Hit that join button, check out what I offer for that. And at the very least, please remember to like this video, share this video, tell people about it. Subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification bell, hit all notifications, because honestly, interacting with these videos means so much, because it really helps the channel, because this is the type of stuff that's likely to get less views, but your support, help, and sharing is always really important. That's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.